Hi again, I'm Walt Moore, otherwise known as Dan Wilson, and back in the garage once again for some more work on the riding lawnmower. Anyway, another windy day here in southeast Missouri. We had some strange weather around this area. Just yesterday we had a high of I think 73 degrees. Today only about 41 or 42 for a high. It gets crazy around here weather-wise. Right now I got a north wind blowing out there about 25 or so miles an hour. So it's making things kind of chilly. One thing I meant to mention in some earlier videos that it just kind of came up not too long ago. I've had a few folks out there leave some comments such as like, what's up with the old brown shirt? They're like, is that the only shirt you own? Well, no, it's not. Just a good old work shirt I've had for years. I know I've shot several videos wearing the same shirt. So, anyway, it's a good heavy shirt. In the wintertime, I gotta stay kind of warm, you know. Anyway, enough about the shirt. When it gets in warmer weather this spring, you'll see me in a t-shirt and what the heck ever. Maybe without a shirt. One of these days. I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, more garage time going on here. In my last video, I was showing you some projects I'm working on here. I've got an older 1996 model white brand riding lawnmower. As I explained before, on a part-time basis, I repair lawn and garden equipment of all kinds. I've worked on riding lawnmowers, push mowers, chainsaws, wood splitters, string trimmers, just about anything that comes up needs repair. The big thing I'm working on this project is this riding lawnmower is going through a complete restoration process, and that's including a complete paint job, a repainting job I should say. The original paint unfortunately literally peeled off of the metal over the last few years, and mainly because I mentioned before, I think one time before, that the manufacturers usually don't put any primer on the metal at the factories, and that's kind of a mistake. Metal all needs to be primed first before you put the paint on there. It helps it to adhere a lot better, and also inhibits rust and other factors. So why they don't do that at the factory? I guess because they're cheapskates or whatever. So anyway, I mentioned before I took the rear fenders off of the machine about a week or so ago, and they were very badly rusted. It was really bad. So I got all the old paint, what was left of it anyway. A lot of the paint literally just fell. I just peeled off with my finger. You know, it's bad. And what didn't want to come off that easily, I use a pretty good quality of paint stripper. Let me just show you. I got a can right over here. Now, I'm not trying to advertise any particular brands or anything. Just to show you some stuff that I use that's working out pretty good for me anyway. This is stuff here I bought at my local Menards store. I don't think they'll mind getting a plug, because that's my favorite hardware store of all. I really like Menards a lot. They got a good variety of stuff there. This stripper I'm using here is called Strip Fast. This is actually made by, I think, the Rust-Oleum company makes this. But anyway, it's a pretty good stripper. One good thing about this product is it's very, very thick. It's like a gel. So when you put this on curved parts of metal that you're refinishing, it will stick to it, or it doesn't really stick to it, but it doesn't just run immediately off. Like if you put just a liquid paint thinner on there, it's just going to run off on the floor and it'll do a lot of good when you got vertical spaces and this and that to work with, especially on curved objects and everything else. You want to use a good thick paint stripper that's like a gel, so it stays put longer and does a much better job. So that's what I've been using. Again, it's called Strip Fast Paint and Varnish Stripper, and it's been working real well. So that's one of the products I've been using. Okay, here are the fenders off the riding lawnmower. This is the underneath side of the fenders right here, and I finally got all the old paint off of there. I sanded this very, very thoroughly and got all the rust and everything off of it. And just yesterday I finally got around to shooting so at least one coat of paint on there, trying to get it. Okay, now this is going to get about 2 more coats of paint before I call this a finished deal here. I almost failed to mention, in one of my other videos I mentioned I'm using a paint called Burgundy Gloss, That's almost the exact match for the original paint this lawnmower came out of the factory with. So you probably noticed I painted the underneath side of this black. So somebody might be saying, well, first you say you're going to use burgundy gloss and now you paint this black. Like, what's going on? You lost your mind or whatever? Well, first of all, this underneath side of the fenders, once this is reinstalled back on the machine, will not even be seen unless unless you crawl up underneath it and look up under there. But otherwise, it's not going to be seen. So I wasn't real concerned about the color on this side of the fenders. The other reason was I managed to get some Rust-Oleum paint. Again, not trying to endorse certain products. I've used Rust-Oleum and a lot of different brands of paint over the years. I got some on sale for like $1.98 a can. I'll show you one. It's this one right here. I actually got 25% more in this can than what it usually comes out with, and the store had this on sale like $1.98 a can, so that's the reason why. One of the reasons. Very good price on the paint. Now this is good paint. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock any brand over or support one brand over another. I will mention though, I don't always use Rust-Oleum. It is a good quality paint. But their spray nozzle is a little stiff, I think. It's a little bit hard to use, and the spray pattern is very narrow. It makes it really hard to keep from getting runs in the paint. Now, my favorite brand, when it comes to spray can paint, this is what I found to be my favorite brand of all. This is Ace brand. This is actually a can of primer, but it's Ace brand that I buy at one of my local Ace hardware stores. And this is the best stuff I've ever used. I mean, it is really good. And again, this is primer, not paint. I have several cans of Ace paint over my paint container, and I'll get to that another day. This has been giving me some very, very good results. I love the spray pattern, and the quality just couldn't be any better. So this is what I've been using primarily. So anyway, just yesterday I got a coat of black paint on the bottom side of the fenders right here. I'm going to shoot about 2 more coats of paint on that, call this a done deal. And once that's done, I got a little touch-up place down here where the clamp is, of course, and I'll take the clamp off obviously and touch this little area up right here. While on that subject, somebody might wonder, why do you have this clamped up like it is up here? Well, one reason is it makes it a lot easier to work with, and it's actually easier to paint than laying down flat. One little additional note on using spray can paint, and the reason for standing up an object like this, for example, is because when your spray can gets down to about this much paint left in it, and you lean the can over like this, it doesn't spray out very well. It wants to spit and cause some splatters and other problems when you're trying to paint with it. So anytime you're using spray can paint, it's always best to keep the can up as upright as possible. So in a case like this, I clamp this fender up like this so I can shoot the paint on while keeping my can up straight like that. So I get a much better use of the paint and much better results. It is a little bit trickier though as far as avoiding runs and so on and so forth, because that can happen when you're painting vertical objects like this. It's much more subject to getting runs in the paint than if it's laying down flat. But again, using spray can paint, you want to keep your can upright as much as possible so you can use up all the paint in the can, and if you're really careful, you won't get any runs in the paint. One of these days, I'll turn the camera back on and actually show you the work that I'm doing while I'm doing it. I haven't been doing much of that because when I'm working, I don't want to knock the camera over because I'm moving parts and stuff around in here. So since I don't have a camera operator, if I had another person to hold the camera and take care of that end of it, then yeah, I would be videotaping everything that I do because I do a lot of stuff. But I don't want to knock the camera over when I'm moving parts, and especially when I'm painting, I sure don't want to get paint overspray on my camera and mess that all up. So that's the reason why you don't get to see much of my work in action. But sooner or later, I will set it up again and let you see what it looks like when I'm actually doing the work. So maybe tomorrow or the next day or whenever, I'll set this up again and let the camera roll and show you exactly how I do this kind of work when I'm refinishing metal. And again, when I get done this project, my goal is to make this riding lawnmower look like it just came out of the showroom or just out of the factory or whatever. So it's coming right along, and then about the next time around, I'll be ready to flip the fenders over, and I got to put 2 more coats of primer on the top side of that, on the top side of the fenders, and then be time for some paint. And it's going to turn out looking great. So again, this is Walt Moore, also known as Dan Wilson, working in the garage again, doing some metal refinishing. It started out as kind of a hobby a long time ago. As a teenager, I repainted some of my first cars I ever had and different things, and just got into it, doing various body work, metal working, and this and that. Just a constant fixer-upper of all kinds of stuff. Anyway, thanks for checking out the video. As time goes by, I'll be showing you some more things that I do, how I do it, how I get the results that I get, various products that I use in my shop, and different pointers I may be able to pass along to you. If you might have any questions about virtually anything, I do all kinds of repair work on a lot of stuff, and if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below the video. I'll do my best to get back to you. Also, feel free to contact me by email at waltmoore, that's WALTMOORE123 @gmail.com. And I will check back in with you on the next video.